Thanks everybody again for tuning in to Live with Smoking Jim and Sarah. We are just so honored to do another show. I'm very excited about this show. We don't have any guests. Sarah has something very, very special that she wants to talk about. Sarah, say hi to all your fans all around the world.
It's great to be back, Jim. It's great to be here and joining you back on TV, talking a little bit about wellness and financial literacy. I think very important, right?
I agree with that.
We're back to school. We're back to
before we go on. There's been so many comments. Every time I walk into the station, they tell me just how well received the shows have been. Since you've came on, the guests has been second to none. And I tell you what, I would not be surprised if you win some kind of award for
you've won awards. I'm just here. I'm just co-hosting, coming along for the wonderful journey. But
did I tell you I'm up for an Emmy?
No.
I'm up for an Emmy. I'll announce it. We did a show on WQED for USS Cunningham.
Yes.
Who is a boxer. Professional boxer, but make a long story short, his daughter in Philadelphia was told that there's nothing they could do for her. She needed a heart transplant, but the condition that she had during the operation, she would die during the operation. So they told her parents to make her feel comfortable, nothing they could do. And so they came to Pittsburgh, and Children's Hospital says, yeah, we can do it. And that was about 6 or 7 years ago. She's healthy now, and they moved to God's country, Monroeville. And the rest
I heard about that story, and I'm so happy to hear that.
I'm up for an Emmy. I can't.
I believe it.
I can't wait to get another free meal.
That's awesome, though. No,
another rubber chicken meal.
No, there's nothing more wonderful than to see someone as gifted as you to be recognized for your work.
And
you have such a kind heart and genuine spirit, which is something that I really admire. You never you never change. No matter what happens, you always have a heart that's always open and kind and generous. So I appreciate that, and it's wonderful. From last year, we started doing Pittsburgh Community TV, so it's been really wonderful, and I'm grateful for that opportunity. I am, and it's been fun. So a lot of stuff going on with Pittsburgh, as well as some of the people that we brought on air, some of the nonprofits, and I think one of the key parts for young athletes, I really am excited that investing in our youth. We had Giovanni from Special Olympics, Pennsylvania.
Yes.
We love you, Giovanni. You're incredible, and you're now a coach, so both Jim and I are very happy. We've had some wonderful people also from our Pittsburgh and Boston radio shows with the Mohsin program. Lumine, who's Special Olympics in Boston, she did very well in the Special Olympics Summer Games in Boston, Massachusetts. So we're very proud of her. And her name is Lumine Butt Lightning because she's super fast. So we love you for that journey and being a part of that journey, as well as Morgan. Morgan is a Paralympian. She's a wonderful athlete with this beautiful journey. And we were really privileged, Kevin Stevens and I, we co-host a TV show in Boston, hitting 12 stations, and she has a great story.
That. I know you did a lot with Kevin Stevens.
Yes.
I didn't know you guys.
We are, we're very good friends. We're family friends.
What a great guy.
Yes, and we've, he's the Penguins scout as well as former Penguins player. And so he has a nonprofit, so we've worked with them and invested in the opiate crisis and addiction in general. So this is something that creates a lot of trauma with families, as well as issues with finances. So we're a part of that journey when it comes to
Can you
financial
talk
literacy.
a little bit more? Can you talk a little bit more about what opioid is, or
Sure. I think,
it's a drug, right? That's all I know.
well, in general, addiction is really a disease. So what's happening really in, our communities is there's a crisis with addiction based on the fact that pills, whether you're, being in a situation where you have pain or pain management, sometimes you are now getting addicted to these pills. And so that also has created a crisis where there is access to these pills for even children who may be living with parents and may be able to, use those pills without parents being aware of it, as well as the laws with even the dealers, drug dealers who may not be doing jail time and being able to basically cut deals and walk away from after dealing drugs, and creating a situation which has become a crisis for many people who have lost their children to drugs, as well as had many other overdose issues. So it's become a major, major issue for the FDA to also look at, and the regulations. So this is one of the things that is heartbreaking, but also a project in itself very rewarding, and we are in full support of Kevin and Kelly, his sister, and have worked alongside with them and our finance company as well. So.
Wow, that's wonderful. Again, we're live with Smoking Jim and Sarah, and Sarah's just telling you about so many of these great nonprofits that she's affiliated with, and out here making a real difference for our city. Thank you, Sarah.
Well, I think that the city in itself has given us so much, and we live in one of the most beautiful cities in the world, I would say. And one of the key parts of what I've noticed, which is this keen interest in learning and education and philanthropy, which is a large part of our Pittsburgh community. So financial literacy is very important, and our daily show, which you've been on, the Mohsin program.
I love it.
So we've had conversations about financial literacy, talking to our children, our college students about money matters, about saving, about investing in properties and home ownership. And one of the interesting statistics is that for even students, outside of the student loans that have gone up, the price for rent has gone up in some states by 37% for students. So that is a high cost if you're living off campus, versus being in a position to invest in a property and buy an investment property. So we educate and we provide the tools and resources to let parents know what their choices are, not only on home ownership, but investing in properties and saving money. Because the bottom line is, there's a lot of fear when it comes to talking about money, don't you think, Jim?
Yes.
Look at you, your face changed.
Yes.
I mean, I don't think it's like, well, we'll go for dinner and talk money, right?
Right.
Your hand is like kind of like. So it's one of those things we have to laugh because it's natural, right? You're gonna look at it and say, sometimes we have sleepless nights, and you wonder, well, how am I going to pay this bill? How am I going to end up paying the mortgage? How do I get rid of my bad debt? And really, it's about the human condition. So what I love about what we can do is have that conversation privately with so many of you here in Pittsburgh and throughout the country about how do we find solutions together privately and look at the human side of it, because that's what we do as our family-owned business. We talk about what is important, which is keeping families together.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. Very well said. Again, we're live with Smoking Jim and Sarah, and Sarah does so many things and works with so many people here in southwestern Pennsylvania and really all over the East Coast, Boston. What's some of the other places that markets that you work in? Sarah?
We work throughout the country. We're literally California, Virginia, Maryland, Colorado, Florida. And we deal with really more the human side of where we have a lot of trauma when it comes to money, and the emotions that are tied into it are usually very negative, because there are so many people who have relationships that don't need to break down because of the fact that if they can actually communicate and find solutions on using the right tools to save money, to invest properly, that's what we do. And that's a large part of what, gives us a great deal of joy, because we have generations with families who come to us and talk to us about how we have been able to help with increasing your credit score for free.
Wow.
Right?
Wow.
How you can start educating your children about money, how you can start saving when you get rid of all of that negative debt, like credit cards. So a lot of homeowners don't realize that 33% of their household income, their paycheck, goes to bad debt, like credit cards and car loans. And they could save that if they simply looked at their home and their mortgage and how you can actually...
Now, what are some of the other bad debts? Okay, credit cards,
car loans.
Car loans. Those are the two big ones.
Well, yes, because credit cards, 18% interest rates, right?
Wow.
That's what usually the interest rate is on a
I
credit card.
bought a toaster 10 years ago. I'm still paying on it.
There you go. It's natural. That's typical. So even anything that you finance right now, mortgage, the interest rates are 3s or 4s. 3% fixed rate, 4%. So if someone, let's say they buy a home, right? We had this wonderful lady who's actually coming on to our Saturday edition to talk a little bit about, she bought a home, we financed it, she had a 3% rate, and she ended up buying 2 other properties, investment properties with minimum down payment with us as well, because we were able to do a 15% down payment versus a 35% down payment.
Wow.
So it's not only about buying a home or a commercial property. We've worked in multiple condo projects, high rises, but it's the education part. It's having that excitement towards knowing how your money works, and then you get to choose how you want to live your life. And how we look at choosing is, success is when you're able to not have the biggest house, but to be able to give to faith, community, church, right?
Right.
Not collecting things, but being able to collect memories. So 50% of Americans can't go on vacation because they have too much debt.
Wow.
That's a bad thing, because we do need to go on vacation. We need to spend time with family. How do we find a way to remove that debt? That's what we do. We give you that counseling privately to tell you, here are some options. And 96% of homeowners don't need to be in debt because they can remove that debt.
Wow.
That's the truth.
Wow, that's exciting.
It is exciting. And I know that you're very faith-based, Jim, so I love that about you.
Thank you.
I do, and I admire that. And that's what we do. We invest a lot in our communities, and we have done several segments where we've had amazing nonprofits who've come on with amazing causes, which allow our community to grow and move forward. That's the importance of being able to manage your money.
Wow,
right?
That's wonderful. Again, we're live with Smoking Jim and Sarah. And again, this show, thanks to Sarah, it's about a year old now, and it's so well received by the people that are in high places in this company.
You're in high places, Jim.
But and we appreciate you, Sarah, because you bring so much, to this program and to this station, and I'm honored to do the show with you. But again, let's talk a little bit about before we get back. We can jump back and forth, but. You mentioned some of the nonprofits. Can you mention some of the other nonprofits that you're working with?
Yeah, so we've, cancer research is a big one. So we've brought on nonprofits related to
That's
camp
when
raising.
they do their camp.
Yes,
every
camp
year.
raising spirits with the oncology nurses.
Yeah.
And, it's very near and dear to my heart. My aunt passed away from pancreatic cancer, so it was important for people to know that there are options. And, of course, there's also great joy knowing that there are camps like that. Camp Raising Spirits happens once a year, and they allow 50 campers to go, just get away from just the realities of, the health issues, and bring a guest and be able to enjoy that time, that weekend.
I got a question, and,
Sure.
and maybe I should get my dad, who lives in Anderson, South Carolina. Maybe I'll get him to come up and go to, because he beat prostate cancer.
Yes.
And prostate cancer runs in my family.
Right.
So all of my uncles, all of my brothers, all of my cousins have been tested for prostate cancer. Mm-hmm. I'm the only one that will not get tested for prostate cancer because I don't like nobody wagging their finger in my face. So there's no way I'm going to ever have that done. So
well, I would get tested, but I know you, Jim. You have a mind of your own. But I would get tested, and when you're ready, that's what I say. But bring your dad to the camp. I think that would, because my friend went to the camp. She was she had cancer, and then
They're
brought.
gonna have pork there if they want my dad.
I think they have everything. They have massages. They have like.
They ain't gonna stay if there ain't no pork on the grill.
You can bring the pork.
Okay.
I'll be there. I'll be there. No, it's a fantastic camp. It's a weekend of cooking and massages.
Okay.
Just get to chill, relax. It's a getaway from the everyday.
Sounds good. Again, we're live with Smoking Jim and Sarah, and this is my favorite half hour of the month. It's always good to spend time with you, Sarah, but go ahead, continue. I'm sorry.
Well, no, I think that it's, what's interesting about life is that, as I say, it's a team sport. It's not like someone gets to the finish line first, right? It's like there aren't any winners. The greatest reward, truly, and I absolutely love Giovanni.